Good morning, everyone. In the last class, we are trying to discuss with arithmetic operators here. So, in that arithmetic operators, we identified with the help of this particular basic math here, how we can work with Java language here. So, this is a simple example we identified, and in this case, we check with into data type as well as double data type here. Getting the point. So we identified in the last class how exactly the each data type values are changing here. And after this, so we identified the module operators here. So with the help of this particular module operators here, so we are trying to print this particular two values here. So first one called x mod of 10 and second one is y mod of 10. But here you can see x is a int data type and y is a double data type here. So with the help of this particular two data type here, now we understand here how this particular module operator is going to work here. Right. So after this, we check with the component operators here. So basically, with the help of this particular component operator here, now what we are doing is, and you can observe. So initially, to increment any value, so this is the way we used to write here. So a is equals to a plus 5. Getting the point. So with the help of this particular, the existing A value, now we are trying to add with the some additional value. So whatever the final result we are going to get, the final result again we are appending into the particular, the same variable here. Getting the point. Again we are trying to set into the same variable here. So this is we already identified in the previous example when we are trying to discuss with the loop here, a is equals to a plus 1. So a is equals to a plus 1 we implemented here. Same way, using this particular component operator here, now what we are doing is, you can observe here, a plus is equals to 5. So a plus is equals to 5. So with the help of this particular component operator, we can write like this is equal. We can write a plus is equals to 5 here. So internally, so this is the format is going to convert here, but which is going to converted by compiler. So as a developer, we are not going to compile explicitly. So whenever we are trying to define this particular component operator like this, so compiler will implement like this internally. Compiler will implement like this internally. Getting the point. So same way, so this is the assignment comparator and this is the multiplication component here, and same way this also same, and this is for the module component operator here. Getting the point. So with the help of this particular different operators here, now we are checking the component operators here. Now we are checking this particular component operators here. So finally, we check with the increment and decrement operators here. So inside this particular increment and decrement here, so we have a two types of increment and decrements here. The first one called pre-increment and post increment here. So now with the help of this particular pre-increment, what we are doing is the value is going to increase first, and with the help of this particular increased value is going to perform the operation here. Getting the point. With the help of the incremented value is going to perform the operation here. The same way the post increment here. The post increment operator is going to perform with the existing value. After performing here, the value is going to execute here. After performing the value is going to increment here. Getting the point. So this is only the difference between pre-increment and post-increment here. Only we need to understand here, for the pre-increment here, the value increases first, and with the help of the incremented value, it's going to perform the operation. And the same way with the post-increment here, with the help of this particular existing value is going to perform the operation. So after completion the particular operation here, the value is going to increase here. So wherever we are trying to use this particular post increment here, only so this is the main difference between pre-increment and post increment. So and finally we understand here with the help of this particular pre-increment and post increment. So we check with pre-decrement operator and post-decrement operator here. Pre-decrement and post-decrement also we identified here. Okay, so this is we already discussed in the last classes here. Now, so today we are going to discuss with one important operators here, relational operators here. So how exactly the relational operators we are going to work here? So to understand this particular relational operators here, first what we need to understand here. So what are the operators we are going to use to work with this particular relational operators here? So and the first one here we connect with double equal to operator here, and the second one not equals to, and third one greater than, and fourth one less than, and fifth one greater than or equals to, and less than or equals to. Getting the point. So these are the So these are the operators we are going to use whenever we are trying to work with this particular relational operators here. So each and every expression is going to return the Boolean value here. Getting the point. So whenever we are trying to work with these many operators here, the each and every operator is going to return the Boolean value here. Boolean value is going to return here. Now observe here. So to work with this particular Boolean operators here, so we are going to work with different data types here. So what are the different data types we are going to work here? We'll try to work with integer data types. So as well as we are going to check with floating data types here, and characters, as well as Boolean data types here. So these are all the data types are going to, all the data types are eligible whenever we are trying to work with this particular relational operators here. Getting the point. So basically, the simple example here, observe here, I'm having int a is equals to 4. Int a is equals to 4, and same way int b is equals to 1 here. Finally, so I'm trying to check with this particular a less than b operator here. A less than b. So now, observe here a less than b. So basically, the a less than b, which is not going to return any value here. Getting the point. So because it is not a arithmetic operator here. So in the arithmetic operators here, so we are going to get some value here. Getting the point. Some value we are going to get here. But here, now we are working with relational operators here. This particular relational operators here is going to return the Boolean value. So Boolean value in the sense, a value is a smaller value compared to this particular b or not. So it's going to check the two values here. If it is the less than, the condition is satisfying here, so we are going to get the true value here. So otherwise we'll return the false here. So we are going to get false value here. So now can I write like this here, int c is equals to a less than b. Getting the point. So if I'm going to write int c is equals to a less than b, what happens internally? We are going to get compilation error, because the particular a less than b, which is going to return Boolean value here. But the Boolean value, what we are doing is, we are trying to converting into data type here. So we are going to get a compilation error. So basically, all this particular relational operators are going to return the Boolean value here. So Boolean c is equals to a less than b. So this particular expression is going to return true or false here. Now, so this is a simple understandable example here. Along with this, now what I'm doing here, so along with this, we'll try to check with so this is the one variable I'm trying to work here, int done here. Getting the point. So I'm not initializing the value, but now you can observe I'm checking with the value here. So here the double equal operator, how we are going to check here. So because it is a numeric data type here, so when we're trying to work with this particular number data type here, so we need to check like this here. With the help of this particular double equal operator, we can have this particular value here. So what is the value we are going to compare here? The right side, we are going to define the value. Not only the 0, we can check with 10 and 100. So what are the value you're trying to check here? But only the difference here, we need to use this particular double equal operator, whether the left side variable having the same value with the right side variable or not. Whenever we are trying to check with the equality of this particular two variables here, we are going to use double equal operator here. Getting the point? So instead of using this particular double equal operator here, if I'm using this particular single equals here, what happens internally? We are going to initialize the value. So whatever the right side variable, the right side value we are having, the value we are going to initialize into the particular variable called done. Getting the point? So now, so we need to understand very carefully the single equal to operator and the double equal to operator here. Getting the point? So the purpose of single equals and the double equal to operator. Getting the point? Now, so we'll have a simple example here. After completion of this particular example, we'll check with the simple example. Observe one more condition I want to check here. Now, I have one more variable. I'm trying to take with the same variable here. But here, I want to check with I don't want to check with this particular value. So for example, you can observe this particular done variable having 0 here, but we don't want to check with the equality here. So if it is not equals to 0, how we can write here? How we can define this particular not equals to null. So this is the way we can define this particular expression here. So done not equals to 0. What happens here internally? If this particular done variable which is not equals to this particular 0, this particular condition is going to return here. So simple example here, if this particular done we are having something called 10. Something called 10 here. So now what we are doing is, so this particular, the first condition will return false and the second condition will return true, because so we are checking with 0. So if it is a not 0, getting the point, if it is a not 0, what is the value we are having? We are having 10 here. So it is not 0. Getting the point. So in this case, we can go for this particular not equal condition here. So in this case, we can check with this particular not equals condition to work on the appropriate operators here. Right. Now we will understand here how exactly we are going to check here. So before going to check with a simple example here, so we'll have a different two operators we are going to have. So in the different operators here, we'll check with this particular expressions here. Something called, along with this, we'll have an additional operator, something called OR operator and AND operators here. We'll have a OR operator and operators here. So with the help of this particular OR and operators, how we are going to check with the simple example here. So before going to start here, now I want to check this particular condition. So let me define this particular block of code here. So now what I'm doing here, first I'm going to define this particular table. So this particular table is going to provide the information here. Let me define this particular table here. So otherwise, I can define inside this particular MS Paint here. And now, so what I'm doing here, so this is for a value, and this is for B value A and B and ARB. Okay, so these are the enough. I want to define here A and B for this ARB and A and B. Finally, not A. And same way, we can go for this particular not B also. Getting the point. So this is the simple diagram, and so this is very important diagram we are trying to define here. And now what I am trying to write here. So here inside this we are going to write with the four types of this particular expressions here. First one, second one, third and fourth here. If I'm going to write here the particular A value, I'm defining false here. So the B also I'm trying to define false here. So carefully observe here, if the A value we are defining as a false and the B value if I'm going to define as a false here, what happens internally? So this particular A or B will become false here. Getting the point? So A or B will become false here, and same way this particular A and B also will become false here. The A and B also will become false here, and this particular not A condition will return true because we are making not. So whenever we are making this particular not condition here, so which is going to work as a opposite value here. For this particular B also will return true here. Observe carefully. So this is very important here. How exactly so this particular OR condition will work, as well as this particular AND condition is going to work here. Getting the point? Now what you are understanding is whenever we are trying to define A value as a false and B value as a false here. So this particular A or B condition is returning true, and A and B condition is also returning true. So basically, so A or B condition, how it's going to work. So this is the A value, and so this is the our B value. So simple example here, if I'm going to make this particular A value as a true, what happened internally? So this particular right side expression is not going to check here. The right side expression is not going to check here. So directly, wherever we are trying to use this particular OR condition, the entire condition will become true here. Getting the point? So this is important here. Whenever we are trying to define this particular left side expression as a true, so it's not going to check with the right side here, because so OR condition here either so A needs to be written true or B needs to be written true here. Getting the point? So in the both expression, any one expression is returning true, the entire expression will become true. Carefully observe here, whenever we are trying to use this particular OR condition here, only one condition it has to be written true, so that the entire expression will become true here. In that case, if the A value is returning true, it's not going to check with this particular B here, because So it's going to return the entire expression true. So now understand here, the a value I'm making as a false here. Whenever we are making this particular a value as a false, so it's a time to check with the right side variable, the right side expression. It's not a variable. The right side expression, whether it is returning true or false. Getting the point. If it is returning true, what happens internally? The entire expression will become true. The entire expression will become true. Right. So otherwise, this particular expression will become return false here. So in that current example, what we are doing here, the a value we are making as a false and b value we are making as a false here. So because of this, the r condition we are making, like we are getting as a false here. And what about this particular and condition here? So basically, the and condition is going to check both the expression it needs to satisfy here. So both the expression is nothing but this particular left side expression and right side expression. So both the expression it needs to return true here. So then only the entire expression will become true. In that case, like any expression is returning false, like if the expression is b returning false, or if any a expression is returning false, so the whole expression will become false here. The whole expression will become false. Getting the point. Now we need to understand it very carefully here. So how exactly this particular value is going to work here. Now observe here the current example here, the a value we are making as a false, and same way the b value also we are making as a false. So what is the condition we need here? A condition will become true and b condition will become true. So then only the a and b condition, the a and b expression is going to return true. So otherwise it will return false. So in that case only we are getting here false here. Getting the point. So this is important here. Now observe, I am going to define one more expression here. So this, the a value I am trying to return true. A value I am trying to return true, and the b value I am trying to return false here. Getting the point. So a value I am trying to return, the b value I am trying to return false here. So what about this particular a or b? So can you please let me know? So with the help of this particular a or b condition, so what is the value we are going to get here? On the third block here, what is the value we are going to get here? So either true we are going to get or we are going to get false here. So like what you understand as of now, can you please let me know? Okay, so I received one answer here. Okay, so two answers I received here. So both both are saying true here. So why they are saying true here? Basically, what we understand here. So the ARB is going to check with the first condition, like the left side expression it's returning true. So it's not going to check with the right side expression. So without checking the right side expression, it's going to return the whole expression as a true here, because the first expression is returning true here. Getting the point. So this is important here. So what about this particular A and B? What about this particular A and B? The A and B will become false here. So why this particular A and B will become false here? Because only one expression is returning true, but other expression is returning false here. Getting the point. So this is very important here. Whenever any expression, like one expression is returning true, so other one is returning false, so the whole expression is going to return as a false here. Right. Now we understand here the A and B condition. So what about this particular not A condition here? So what is the value we are going to get for this particular not A? So we discuss here which is going to play opposite direction here. If it is a true, it will become false. So if it is a false, it will become true here. Getting the point. So this is a opposite direction is going to work here. Basically, for this particular A, we have a true, so the particular not condition will become false here. What about this particular B? B still it will return true because the B value, the original B value we are having false here. So let me provide one more type of expressions here. So something called the A value I'm making as a false and the B value I'm going to make as a true here. B value I'm making as a true here. So what about this particular ARB condition? The ARB is going to return true here. So this is important here because so it's checking the first expression. First expression is nothing but the A expression is checking here. The A expression is returning false. So now it's moving to the B expression here. The B expression is returning true here. So whenever the B expression is returning true, the whole expression will become true here. So the ARB will become true. So what about this particular A and B condition? Still it will return false here because of the still A and B condition. It's going to return false here because of the A is returning false here. So we need a both the expression needs to be satisfied here. So what about this particular not A? It will return true here. And for this particular B will return false here. Will return false here. And now the final expression we are going to write here. So I want to write here true. So both I'm having true and A or B will return true and A and B also will return true here. So observe here only one case is returning true and remaining the three cases it is returning false here. So observe, so this is also very important here, the A and B. So we need to understand very carefully here because in the real time we are going to define this particular A and B or ARB conditions. So very frequently here. So for this we need to understand very carefully. This diagram is going to provide more information. The particular AND conditions are conditions here. Getting the point. So this is very important. We need to understand here. Okay. Now, with the help of this particular table, we are going to have the simple example here. So how exactly the simple example we are going to check here. So let me write the simple example here. So Boolean logic. I'm trying to define with this particular Boolean logic here. So Boolean A is equals to true. Boolean B is equals to false here. I'm having two variables here, true and false here. Now I want to check with so Boolean C. So Boolean C is equals to what I am doing here. I'm trying to check with ARB. Boolean D is equals to A and B. Getting the point. So here, what are the outputs we are going to get here? What are the outputs we are going to get? And so one more expression I'm trying to define here. So this is important here. So Boolean E is equals to here not A and B. Here I'm making OR condition and A and not B. C value will become true, T value will become false. Okay, so can you please let me know the same thing regarding this particular Boolean E? So try to think this particular current example, how I'm trying to use this particular AND conditions as well as OR condition here. And I want to define Boolean F is equals to not A. F is equals to not A here. Okay, so now I'm trying to print system.out.println. First we'll print this particular A value. And B value, C, D, and E. Finally, we'll print this particular F here. So observe, I'm trying to print a particular A and B value, and same way we'll print this particular C value. Here I want to define the particular expression here. So what is the expression we are using here? ARB. With the help of this particular expression, so what is the value we are going to get? And same way, the AND condition here. And here we are going to return D value. Finally, I'm going to copy this particular expression here. Here we are going to return. Here we are going to return this particular E value. Sorry, F not A and F here. So these are our expressions we are going to print here. So based on this particular expression, we'll try to check with each and every value. So E is true, F is false. Okay. We'll observe. So one person is provided C value true. Let me write. And so D value false. So this particular E value will become true, and F value will become false. And another one is provided true, but I'm not sure. So true value related to which variable here, because we are having around 5 variables here. Getting the point. So other one is provided only one true here. So the true is going to applicable for all the variables, is going to applicable only for the specific variable here. So can you please include? So what is your output here? Okay. Now we'll go to this particular command prompt here. Java C Boolean logic dot Java. So compile successfully, and we are going to execute here Boolean logic here. Now you can observe here. So what are the values we are getting here? So first one, A value will become true, and B value false, the C value true, and D value false, and E value true, and F value false. So after colon, now you can observe. So what is exactly our output here? Because before the colon, so that is all about the particular expression here. So what we used in our current example here. So these are the outputs here. Getting the point. So this is very important here. How we can work with this particular how we can work with this particular, the logical operators here. And same way, we are going to check with the Boolean operator, sorry, the ternary operator here. Ternary operators. So this particular ternary operator is also very important here. So before going to discuss this particular ternary operators here, I want to provide this particular OR condition and AND condition. So how we are going to use in the real-time example here. So to understand this particular real-time scenario here, now what I'm doing here. So simple, you can observe we are going to have EMP. EMP is nothing but employee object here. So with the help of this particular employee object here, now what I'm doing here, observe here employee dot get person. Getting the point? If the employee dot get person not equals to null, so not condition how I'm trying to use. Getting the point? So this particular not conditions we are going to write so more cases here. Getting the point? So initially also we are going to write here. So EMP. Sorry. EMP not equals to null. And so observe now here we are checking with the not equals operator here. So as well as we are checking with the AND condition. AND condition. So whenever the employee we are getting not null object, same way with the help of this particular employee, we are trying to load with this particular person. The person also we are checking not equals to null condition. And between we are working with the AND condition. So entire expression, this particular entire expression is returning true. Now what happens internally? We are going to work with the below statements here. So the current example here, with the help of this particular employee get person dot something get ID. Based on this particular ID, we are going to load an object here. So just a simple example I'm providing here. But now observe how we are trying to use this particular AND condition. So along with this particular AND condition, we may define more conditions here also. So the more conditions how we can define here. So for example, here I'm trying to define one brace here, and one more I want to check OR condition here. One more I want to check OR condition here. The OR condition here, member not equals to null, and member dot get person not equals to null. So observe carefully here what I'm doing here. I'm trying to check with one more here. One more I'm checking here. So observe. So here I'm checking with employee not equals null, employee dot get person not equals null. If it is returning true, we are not going to load from the person from the member. So carefully observe here. So finally, so what object I need? I need a person object here. But what I'm doing here, I'm trying to load from the employee. First I'm checking from the, if this particular person is coming from the employee, I'm not going to checking from the member here. Getting the point? So if this particular employee is not returning, if this particular employee is not returning here, now what I'm doing here, I'm moving into this particular member here. So between these two objects, I'm using OR condition here. Between these two objects, I'm using OR condition. Getting the point? So this is very important here. So with the help of this particular AND condition, with the help of this particular OR condition, we are going to write more and more condition in our real-time applications here. So in that case, I'm providing the simple example here. Getting the point? So this is we are going to use in our real-time examples here. Getting the point? Right. Back to here. Now we need to check with the ternary operators here. So how exactly the ternary operators is going to work here? So to understand this particular ternary operators here, so basically, so Java provides the special ternary operator here. So the three-way operator also we are going to call here. So how exactly this particular three-way operator is going to work, right? So first we need to understand the syntax here. How exactly this particular syntax is going to work. First I'm trying to write expression 1 and a question mark here. Getting the point. And after this, I'm going to write with expression 2 and colon expression 3. Getting the point. So this is the three-way operator also we are going to call, because how many expression we are defining here? We are defining three expressions here. So expression 1, question mark, and expression 2, colon expression 3. Getting the point. So this is called, we are going to call it as the ternary operators here. How exactly the particular ternary operator is going to work here. So to understand more about this particular ternary operators here, we can check with this particular simple example here. So now observe here, we are having so one variable called ratio, and so which is equals to 0, which is equals to 0. I'm making the question mark. After question mark, what is this is called, I'm trying to work with the second expression, and after second expression, I'm making one colon here, and I'm trying to define third expression here. Getting the point. Now observe here, this particular before the question mark. So before the question mark, the first expression is returning true. After this particular question mark, the second expression is going to execute here. So observe here, if this particular expression is returning true, the second expression is going to execute here. So otherwise, the particular third expression is going to execute here. If this particular expression is returning false here, if this particular expression is returning false here, so this particular third expression is going to execute here, expression 3. And here I want to define expression 2. Getting the point. If it is returning true, so it's going to execute the expression 2, and the first expression 1 is returning false, the third expression is going to return here. Getting the point. So this is also very important here. The ternary operators also we are going to return, like we are going to write so multiple times here. So now observe here. So this is very important here. So based on this particular condition, so these two is going to play important role here. But now what we need to understand here, only we need to focus more and more how this particular the expression 1 is going to return the true or false here. True or false here. Now observe with the help of this particular simple example how we can check here this particular ternary operators here. I'm trying to write with ternary. The name of the class I'm trying to work with ternary. What happened here? So why this particular syntax is not working here? So public static void main. Getting the point. Now observe here into I comma k. So I'm having two variables here, I and k values here. So now you need to understand here, so how exactly the ternary operator is going to work. What I'm doing here, I value I'm trying to initialize with the 10. For this particular k value, I'm going to work with the ternary operators here. So K is equals to, getting the point, K is equals to I less than 0. I less than 0. And question mark I'm making here. So if this particular expression is returning true, what I'm doing here, I'm trying to do some subtraction from the current value, and otherwise I'm trying to return with the original value. Getting the point. What we need to understand here, the I less than 0, the particular I less than 0. So what is the value we are going to get for this particular K here? Getting the point. What is the value we are going to get for this particular K here? So this is very
10.
important. We need to understand here. Getting the point. Because the I value we are having 10 here, I less than 0. The expression, whatever the expression we defined here, the expression is returning false here. Getting the point. If it is returning false here, so what we defined here, if the expression 1 is returning false, now it's going to check with the expression 3. The expression 3 value we are assigning into, like we are initializing into the K variable here. So this is important here. Right. So same way, I'm going to write one more value here. Same thing here, I value minus 10 here. Cutting the point. So I value minus 10 here. So what about this particular, this scenario here? So what is the value we are going to get here? Observe
10.
here, I'm trying to define system dot out dot println here I and K values. Getting the point. I and K. So I'm trying to print this particular I and K. So before changing the value,
Plus 2.
and after changing this particular value, so I'm going to print these two values here. So basically,
Int x plus sign before K.
before K, right? Basically, so why we are using here the plus operator here? Anyone having an idea?
Concatenating string and values.
Yes, I'm trying to concatenating with this particular string data type as well as int data type here, so that the both data types are going to print, right? So now observe here, Java C. So what is the name of the class? Ternary we are having here, and which is compiled successfully. Observe here, I'm trying to print this particular, like I'm trying to execute this particular ternary class. So now you can observe I and K values 10 comma, sorry, 10 and 10 we are getting here. And same way, if I'm going to change this particular, values here, now what is the value we are getting here? So I value minus 10, and the K value also we are getting 10 here. Getting the point. So this is the way we can work with the particular ternary operators here. Same thing. Now what I'm doing here, I'm going to check with one real-time scenario, like what we identified just now. I'm going to check with the same scenario here. Observe here, and here you can see employee not equals to null. So why I'm making this particular employee not equals to null every time? Basically, whenever we are trying to check with any reference here, first we need to check the not equals null condition. So because we are going to get, sometime we may get null pointer exceptions here. So for this, what we need to do, we need to check this particular employee not equals to null condition, and emp dot something. So here, from the employee object here, so what we can load here? Along with the employee, we'll have a person number and what is the scenario we can get it? So okay, leave this particular employee. We'll try to load from the different scenario. Okay, e-commerce website bank. Okay, so we'll check with the account here. Account not equals to null, and I'm making and condition. So from this particular account here, I'm trying to load. So saving account. Getting the point. So from this particular account to what I'm doing is I'm trying to load this particular saving account here. If this particular saving account here, right? So the saving account we are getting not equals to null. What I'm doing here, I'm making ternary operator here. I'm making ternary operator here. So with the help of this, what I'm going to do, with the help of this, the saving account to dot get ID. Getting the point. With the help of this particular ternary account, ternary operator here, so I'm loading the saving account ID here. So sometimes, if this particular saving account we are not going to get, what happens internally? Right, now what we can do, here I'm trying to write this particular, the expression thought here. Internally, again I'm going to check here. Internally, I'm going to check. So instead of saving current account, getting the point. Null. Here I'm making one more condition. Observe here. And so current account dot get ID. Getting the point. So get ID. So this is I'm trying to making here. So this is the way we can make here the ternary operator if this particular expression is returning true. Now what we are doing is we are loading the saving account ID. So otherwise we are moving into the current account here. So here now what we can do, we can make one brace here to check with the particular expressions here. But it is going to give the lengthy process here. So directly now what we can do, I will try to remove this. So simply we can load from the current account ID. Getting the point. So this is the different ways to load an object here. Getting the point. So important here. But how I'm making this particular ternary operator, so which is going to play important role here. Not only this, we can have different scenarios also we can write here. Right. So in that case, just I'm giving one example here how we are going to write in our real-time scenarios here. So back to here. So we understand here the ternary operator, how it is working here. Now, after completion of this particular ternary operators here, so we need to check with the.
What is null pointer exception? In between you said. Null pointer exception.
No problem. So as of now, don't worry because we are going to discuss this particular exception handling here. So we'll observe. So how we are going to get this particular null pointer exceptions here.
Okay.
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 So it is not a right time to provide the null pointer exception information.
Okay.
Just for giving an information here. So if I'm missing something, like how exactly we are going to get an object information here. Okay. Any questions regarding this particular? So what we discussed so far here, something called the Boolean logic as well as the ternary operators here. So inside this particular Boolean logic here, so we did not discuss the less than and greater than here. So we can discuss in our upcoming classes here. So something called in the loop or any conditions, we can discuss the less than or equals to less than, greater than or equals to and greater than here. But so along with those now any questions regarding this, the AND operator and OR operator here, as well as this particular ternary operators here. Anyone having any questions? Okay. So back to here, after completion of this particular operators here, we are going to discuss control statements here. So control statements is nothing but, so the simple example we already identified here, if statement 2. So how we are going to work with the particular if condition block. So along with this particular if block, we are going to check with some additional blocks also as well here. So now let me write here control statement here. So we'll try to check with the control statements here and how exactly the control statements it's going to work. Because previously we already discussed with one condition block called if condition here. If we are going to define condition here, if this particular condition is returning true, so we'll define statements here. We'll define the statement one. Only one statement is going to execute because we did not define the block of code here. So what is block of code also we'll understand here. But observe here, now this particular condition is returning true. The statement one is going to execute here. So otherwise we have one more the condition statement here, else here. We have one more condition statement here. So this particular else statement is going to execute here. So it's nothing but statement 2. So when we are having only two statements here, we can write like this here. You find else statements here. Getting the point? We can define you find else statements here. But whenever we are having more statements here, getting the point? If this particular condition is not satisfied here, so I don't want to check with a direct else block here. I want to check one more condition here. Getting the point? If I want to check one more condition here, so what is the one more condition statement here? We are having else if. Getting the point? We are going to have else if here. So first we need to define the if condition, and whenever we are having multiple conditional blocks here, we can go for this particular else if. So now you can define as many else if you want to write. So as many else if you want to write, you can define like this here. Getting the point? So this is important here. You can define as many else if here. The finally we can go for the else statement here. So this is the syntax we need to follow here. So this is syntax we need to follow. Getting the point? So this is very important we need to understand here. Right. So we'll have a simple example on the if condition as well as else condition. So after this we are going to check with the if, else if and else condition here. Okay. So back to here, I'm having so a comma b. I'm trying to declare two variables here. I'm trying to check with the conditional block. So what is the conditional block I'm checking here? A less than b. Getting the point? If this particular a less than b is satisfied here, now what I'm doing is I'm trying to work with this particular statement 1. So now what I'm doing inside this particular statement here, so a is equals to 0. So which is nothing but we are trying to initializing the a value here. So which is nothing but the A value we are trying to initializing here. Whenever this particular condition is satisfied here, if this particular if condition is satisfied, now what we are doing here, we are trying to initializing this particular value. So otherwise, now what I'm doing here, so directly we can go for this particular b is equals to 0. B is equals to 0. Getting the point. If this particular condition is not satisfied, so directly it will come to the else block. It's going to check the b, like it's going to initialize the b value here. Getting the point. Again, the compiler is not going to check any condition here. So carefully observe here. If this particular condition fail, if the condition fail, it's not going to check any condition. So directly it will come into the else block. It will initialize the value. Getting the point. So this is important. We need to understand here. So back to here. So along with this, so it's not a right time to discuss this particular method section here. So we'll have more information on this particular method level. Now, what I want to do, I want to check with the nested ifs here. Nested ifs. Nested ifs is nothing but whenever we are trying to define this particular if statement inside the one more if. One more if. So observe here how I'm trying to write this particular statement here. So I'm having one variable called I. I'm trying to check with a condition call. I'm trying to check with the condition call I value equals to 10 here. So what happens internally? So it will enter into this particular block of code. So carefully observe here. As of now, we did not provide any the particular block statements here. But now I'm opening one curly brace here. Whenever we are trying to providing this particular curly brace, what happens internally? So we can work with multi lines of code here. So otherwise we can work with only the single line here. If I'm going to write one more line, so it will without checking the condition, the second line is going to execute here. But if whenever we are having more than one line, we can go for this particular block of code here. So observe here, I'm opening one curly brace and now I'm trying to write one more condition here. So this condition we are going to call it as a nested condition here. So it's nothing but nested if. Observe here, I'm having j value. With the help of this particular j, I'm trying to checking with one more condition here. If this particular condition is satisfying here, what I'm doing here, a is equals to b or a equals to b. We can initialize the value. Getting the point. So otherwise, again I'm going to write one more condition. Again I'm going to write one more condition with the help of this particular something 50. Getting the point. The k value is greater than 50. Now what I'm doing is something c is equals to d value. But what you need to understand here, so how we can write with the nested ifs here. Getting the point. So this is outer if here and outer if. Inside this particular if condition, I'm going to define one more if. So you can define how many if condition you want to write here. So you can define how many if condition you want to write, but only the else statement we can define only one here. Getting the point. We can define only one else statement here. So first, the compiler is going to check this particular condition. If condition is returning, if this particular condition is returning true or false, so the second condition is going to check here. The second condition is going to check here. And same way, so this particular if condition is going to execute here. So even though if this particular condition is returning true or false, it's not depends on the one more if condition here. Getting the point. Whenever we are trying to define else condition here, what happens internally? It's going to play based on this particular if condition. If this particular if condition is returning false, then only the else block is going to execute here. But now I remove this particular else here. So now I'm giving an option here. even though if this particular condition is returning true or false, so don't consider this particular true or false. Again, execute this particular conditions also. Whenever you are trying to executing this particular condition, so try to execute this particular condition without checking the condition value of the above one. Getting the point? So this is important here. So finally, if the two conditions are failed, so it will move on to the else block here. Observe carefully how many types of conditional we can define here. The first one, we can define this particular condition. If you want to write multiple conditional blocks here, but whenever I'm trying to write this particular conditional block here, what happens internally? Only one condition is going to execute here. So for example here, so the second condition is satisfied. The remaining conditional blocks are ignored. So some cases, the first condition is satisfied. All the remaining cases are ignored here. Getting the point? And finally, if it is satisfied, the line number 6 here, the else condition is going to ignore here. But come to here, if this particular condition is satisfied here, even though if the condition is satisfied, still it will execute here. It's not going to ignore here. So this is very important here. Getting the point? And so finally, the second condition is satisfied, so this will ignore here, because we made as a else condition here. Getting the point? But only the difference here, so if it is returning true or false, it's not going to depends on the second condition. The second condition also it's going to execute here. So that is, whenever we want to define without checking any other blocks conditions here, we can go for the multiple if conditional blocks here. Getting the point? Every time is going to checking the each and every condition here. Every time is going to checking the each and every condition. So this is the different types of writing this particular if and else if conditions here. Right. Now observe here, we are going to write with the simple example on this particular if conditions here. So let me close this conditions information. I want to write simple example here. So what is a simple example I'm trying to write here? Something called if else. The name of the class I'm making as a if else. If else. Getting the point? And here, so as of now, so don't worry regarding this particular string data type here. Getting the point? So ignore as of now this particular string data type. Just focus on the how we can work on the if and else condition, how we can use here. Right. So now I'm trying to write one condition. So something called if condition. If. Sorry. So season, as well as we need to define this particular into month also. Observe here, I'm trying to check in with this particular variable here. Month equals to 12 here. Or, getting the point? So month equals to 1. Or month equals to second. Getting the point? I'm not defining the block of code here. So just I'm going to check with one line of condition here. One line of condition here. Getting the point? So this is the one if condition I'm defining. So carefully observe here, inside this particular if condition, how many conditional we are defining internally. So this is important here. How many conditions we are defining. In a real-time example also, whenever we are trying to work with the OR condition, so same way we are going to define like this here. And else if. Getting the point? Else if month equals to so 3 again 3. I want to check with one more condition. Month equals to 4. Month equals to 5. Getting the point? So 12, 1, 2 and 3, 4, 5. So this season we are going to call it as a so 3, 4, 5. So something spring, right? And one more else if I'm trying to define. Here I'm trying to check with the condition called 6. Month equals to 7. Month equals to 8. So this section we are going to call it as a summer. So this particular season we are going to call it as a summer. And finally I want to check with month equals to double equals to 9 or month equals to 10. Month equals to 11. This particular season, so we are going to call it as a some different season, autumn, right? So finally else block. Finally else block. Something called some test here. Because any condition is going to satisfy here. So just for understanding here, the else block, I'm trying to define like this here. So observe carefully how many conditional blocks we defined here. How many conditional blocks we define here. So this is very important here. Observe here, based on this particular month variable here, now what we are doing here, we are checking with each and every condition here. So first it's going to check this particular condition, and the month we are having for, we are checking with 12 here. It will not satisfy here. Again, our condition we are making here. We are going to move on to this particular second expression here, something called month equals to 1. So this also will not satisfy. It's going to check with the last condition, right? So entire this particular condition is not going to satisfy. And if it is not satisfying here, it will back to the second condition, else if condition. So here it will satisfy. Whenever it will satisfy here, it will initialize this particular string variable here, and this particular remaining 3 conditionals here. Remaining this particular 3 conditions are going to ignore here. Getting the point? The remaining 3 conditions are going to ignore here. Right. So this is, we need to understand very carefully here. Whenever we are trying to write with the conditional blocks here, the multiple conditional blocks, how we can define here. Observe here, how like we'll try to execute this particular simple example. Here we need to define this particular system dot out dot println here. So simple season I want to print. Sorry, I want to print. So this particular season. So going forward, we'll try to compile the code. If else Java. It's compiled successfully. Now I'm executing this particular current example. Now you can see, so the value we are getting as a string here. Getting the point? So this is very important here. We need to understand here how this particular multiple, the conditional block we can define here. multiple conditional block we can define here. So anyone having any questions regarding this particular multiple conditional blocks? Okay, so if we don't have anything here, now what I'm going to do, we'll move on to the, so one more switch case here. So now we understand here how exactly the particular, if and else if is working, we need to check with the switch case here. So basically, so what exactly the switch case is going to work in Java language here? Getting the point. So switch case is a multi-way, getting the point. The multi-way branch statement we are going to call, and it's going to provide the easy way of dispatch the execution of the different part of code here. So how exactly which is going to provide the different parts of code here? Getting the point. So to understand this particular switch case here, first what we need to understand here. First we need to check with the expression here. Getting the point. So based on this particular expression here, the case is going to execute here. So based on this particular expression, the case is going to execute here, and which is also alternative to this particular if and else if conditions here. Observe here, to work with this particular switch here, first what we need to do. So this is a keyword we need to use, and here we need to define the expression here. Getting the point. I'm trying to define the particular syntax here. So once this particular we define this particular expression here, now what we are going to do, we'll try to provide the case information. So this is a value 1. Getting the point. So this is the value 1. We are going to work with statements here. Getting the point. If the value 1 is satisfied, we'll try to work with statements here. So otherwise, case value 2. Getting the point. So case value 2. So if the case value 2 satisfied here, we'll check with those statements here. And same way, case value 3. We'll try to work with those statements here. Finally, so if any case is not satisfied here, we'll try to check with the default here. So what is the default logic we are expecting? We can write the default logic here. So observe here, basically based on this particular expression, getting the point. Based on this particular expression, so one case is going to satisfy. One case is going to satisfy here. Alright. And here it's not going to check with each and every case. It's not going to check each and every case every time here. So based on this particular expression, so directly it will move on to the appropriate case if it's going to execute, and it will come out of the particular case statement here. Right. So if I'm going to work with this particular if condition here, now what we are doing here, we are going to check with this particular each and every condition here. Getting the point. Now what we are doing here, first we check with this particular. First we are going to check with this particular condition. Second we are going to check with this particular condition. Third we are going to check with this particular condition. And if this particular condition is satisfied, so it's not going to execute here. Getting the point. So same way, which is going to happen in our switch cases here, but that will happen when we are trying to write the break statements here. So we'll see how exactly the break statement is going to work here. So first we'll check with the break statement here, and without the break statement here, how exactly the current example is going to work here. Right. So now we understand this particular syntax here. So this is what we defined here. This is we are going to call it as a syntax here. And now we are going to check with the simple example, so that we are going to understand here how this particular switch case is going to work. So let me write a simple example. And sample switch. Public static void main string args here. Now what I'm doing here, I'm trying to define one loop here. So int I is equals to 0 and I less than 6. I want to repeat this particular loop until 6 times here and I plus plus. So after this, now what I'm doing here, I'm trying to define this particular switch case here. I'm trying to define this particular switch case. The expression I'm making as a I here. I'm making this particular expression as a I. So case 0. So careful observe here, whenever we are trying to work with this particular expression, the same data type we need to use here. Whatever the expression data type we are working here, for this particular case also, we need to use the same data type here. Getting the point? Now I'm using 0 here. So what I'm trying to do, I'm going to work with the println statement here. I'm going to work with this particular println statement here. So I is, so initially we are going to get 0. Getting the point? So I'm going to make break here. So why I'm making this particular break? So we'll observe, just for understanding, first see this particular current example. So later we can go for this particular break information here. So back to here, I want to define, so case the value 1. Getting the point? So let me copy all the cases here. 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. Here I want to make 1. And here I want to make 2, 3, and 4. So finally 5. If anything not satisfied here, if anything is not satisfying here, now what I'm doing here, I'm going to make default. So this particular default here, now what I'm doing here, so simply we'll try to print a statement here. Here I is greater than 5. So I is greater than 5. Getting the point? So we open 3 braces here, we're closing 3 braces here. Getting the point? Observe carefully. First, we need to save this particular current example, sample switch. Okay. So back to here. Now what we're doing here, we are trying to check with this particular loop here. Whenever this particular loop is repeating here, so what is the I value? The I value initially 0.
So, hi team. So yesterday we found that few of the was not filled in the unknown folder.
I value 0 here.
Cache to close and.
So observe here. Now what we are doing here, if this particular I value 0, so which case is going to execute here? Getting the point? So we are defining this particular I value here. I as a expression here. So initially we are having the I value 0. The case 0 is going to satisfy. Right. The first one I0 is going to print, and it will not satisfy the remaining cases here. Getting the point? Now what happens internally? The loop is going to repeat here. The loop is going to repeat here. So I will become 1. The case 1 is execute. Remaining will not execute. The case 2, the loop is going to repeat here. The case going to repeat here. Getting the point? And second time is going to execute 2. And so third time 3, fourth time, and fifth time here. Getting the point? Observe here. So it's going to repeat 5 times here. After 5 times here, now what we can do? This particular loop is coming out of the particular for loop here. Right. So we'll see how exactly this particular current example is going to print the value here. Let me clear this particular console here. Now I want to compile this particular sample switch. So Java say sample switch.java. It's compiled successfully. Now I'm going to run this particular example. Observe here how many values we are getting here. So only 0, 1 to 5. 0 to 5. Right. Now what we can do, now I'm going to remove this particular break statement here. So carefully observe here, if I'm going to remove this particular break statement here, what happens internally? If I'm going to remove this particular break statement here. So we'll try to compile the same example one more time. The example is compiled successfully. Now I'm trying to run the same example here. So now you can observe here, if you compare the previous output and the current output here. The previous output we have seen only up to 0. 6 times the particular loop is repeated here. So 6 times the println statement is printed. The loop is repeated only 6 times, but the output is printed only 6 times. But the current output here now you can observe. The current output now you can observe here. So 0 to default. 0 to default it is printing here. Now if you want to understand here. So basically for the first time here 0 is satisfied. But even though if the 0 is satisfied here, it's trying to executing all here. From 0 to the default. The second one you can observe, first one, because the I value is increased to 1. From 1 to 5. 1 to the default one. Now you can see the I value will become 2. So which is executing here 2 to 5. And so 3 to 5 and default here. 4 to 5 and 5 to 5. Getting the point. So now we understand here. So how much is very important break statement here whenever we are trying to use the particular switch statements here. So whenever we are trying to work with this particular switch cases here. Getting the point. So this is very important we need to understand here. Now we understand here. So without using this particular break statement here, how many times the cases are executing here. Getting the point. So the drawback here, even though this particular case is not satisfied here. So initially the case 0 is satisfying here. This particular, the remaining cases are not satisfied here. But if the remaining cases are not satisfied here, still those are executing here. So for this purpose, what we need to do? We need to work with this particular break here. Whenever we are trying to work with this particular break, so whatever the case, so it is satisfied here, only the particular case is going to execute here. Getting the point. So anyone having any questions regarding this particular case statement here?
Yes, I have a question. I mean, for the break statement, since all the break statement you are adding, we can use the shortcut, right? To edit. If we edit one, all gets edited.
So what? No, I did not understand. What is edit here?
No, since it was break first, but you added comment line. So if you are
Yes.
changing one variable, so we can use the shortcut, right? Where the occurrence of that variable, wherever that particular part is occurring, we can edit that one and all will be edited instead of changing all the breaks one by one. Did you understand?
No.
No, we use shortcut, right? I'm not recalling what shortcut it was. But to select when there are multiple things, to select all at once. I mean,
No, no.
occurrence, multiple occurrence.
See, basically in the switch cases, if we want to execute only one case, we need to use the break. So we cannot stop here without the break here.
Okay.
Okay. So basically the break is very important here. So now we understand here, if I'm not using the break, so we identified here how many times it is executing here. So we'll observe one more example here. If I'm not using this particular break, how exactly the different cases are executing here. So let's see, we'll try to check with one more example here.
No, what I was saying is, like, we have shortcut to select multiple same words to change it at same time. Like Alt Shift and select that word. So I was saying, why didn't we use that when we wanted to change break to we wanted to comment the break.
Okay, you are asking about this particular shortcut of this
Shortcut.
particular.
Yeah.
So shortcut is not going to use in the Notepad++. That we can use only in the IDE.
Oh.
Okay. So back to here. Now we understand the purpose of this particular break here. Now what we are going to do, we'll try to check with one more example here. So observe here. So one more example. So missing break here. Getting the point. So if I'm going to use this particular, I'm going to write one more, the same loop here, int I is equals to 0 and I less than 12. I less than 12 and I plus plus. Right. And switch case. I'm trying to check with this particular switch case. We are having I here. Getting the point. So here I'm trying to define with 0 and 1, 2, 3 and 4. For this particular 4, system dot out dot println here. So I is less than 5. Getting the point. I'm using break here. And now from the case 5 onwards, so 6, 7, and 9. Here I'm going to work with system dot out dot println here. I is less than 10. And we are going to use break here. So finally we'll work with the default. Here I want to write the message I is, so we can define 10 or more. Getting the point. So observe carefully how many times this particular message is going to print. So even though inside each case, if I'm not writing anything, what happens internally? So how exactly the break is working? Very important here. Now we are going to understand this particular current example here. So let me clear this particular console, compile this particular missing break.java, and I'm trying to execute this particular missing break. So observe here. So this particular file is executed how many times here? So which is executing 5 times here. So 0 to 4 is nothing but 5 times here. 0 to 4 is nothing but 5 times here. And the same way, so this is also 5 times here. And so these are 2 times here. Basically, we made as a 12 times the particular loop is going to repeat here. But if we observe, if this particular expression is 0, it has to satisfy this particular case. But inside this particular case, we don't have. So we did not define anything here. Now what is happening internally is trying to check with case 1, case 2, case 3, and case 4. So wherever we are having this particular break, so it is stopping here. Wherever it is having the particular break statement, it is stopping here. And up to, so this particular cases are satisfied here, the loop is executing, and this particular println is printing here. So once this particular case is completed, now we'll back to the case file here. So from the case file, it's trying to execute the above case details here. The above case details here. Right. So this is very important example. So without the break here, so how we are having this particular drawbacks we identified here. But in the real time, we are not going to define like this here. So each and every case, we are going to work with the break here, because we don't want to give the permission to execute the different cases here. Different cases here. So just for understanding here, if I miss a break statement here, so how exactly the cases are going to execute internally, we identified here. So any questions regarding this particular current example? Okay. So if we don't have anything here, we'll conclude the class and we'll continue tomorrow. So with the remaining example here. So whatever the example we identified with the help of this particular if and else condition, the same example we can check with the particular switch cases here. So using this particular switch cases, how exactly we can work with the example which we already identified, if and else condition example here. Okay. So we'll continue tomorrow.
I have one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
This Java training will go for how long? How
So
many days?
it's going to take more 2 months.
I mean, you mean just for Java training, or you will be doing Spring Boot or Spring something else also?
So we are going to cover Spring and Spring Boot as well.
I'm asking for core Java. This core Java is for how many more
Yes.
days?
So it's going to take around 20 days.
Okay. After that, first you will start Spring Boot or Spring?
Spring we are going to start.
Spring, and that is for how long?
It's going to take 1 month because we need to check with the each and every version here.
Spring Boot next 1 month.
Yes, not 1 month. So it's going to take around 5 to 10 days only, because Spring Boot, so all the automations concepts we have, so we are not going to focus more on this Spring Boot.
Yeah. Okay. But we will be using in job Spring Boot only, right?
So you like once you understand the Spring, you can easily implement any example in the Spring Boot. So there is no problem. So whatever the concepts we are implementing, so those concepts also we are going to implement in the Spring Boot, but it's not going to take much time here.
Okay. And even deployment will be taught on
So
AWS.
deployment, no, we are not going to cover any deployment section here.
Can you do at least 1-2 days
So
if
to deploy
possible?
one to test, like we need to set up more. So we'll see, like after completion of this course, if I'm going to have time, we'll check with because again I need to discuss the more and more like Jenkins, like what is the Jenkins, how the Jenkins are going to integrate it to the AWS. So we need to deploy. It's going to take some time here. Okay, finally we'll observe. So we'll try to check with the deployment sections as well.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
No, only this. Thank you.